So it was Halloween just over 10 years ago, and I had just started dating my now husband at the time, and we had gone to Costco and got one of those giant bags of those mini fun-sized candy bars, the ones that have like Reese's peanut butter cups and Milky Ways and Kit Kats all mixed together, like the best bag. So candy bars were not something that were in my regular diet. I never ate them. I never thought about them. I never had them in my apartment. I never really even felt deprived about them. But all of a sudden, there they were, sitting there, staring at me. And all of a sudden, the candy craving came on hard, and I panicked. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to just eat one or two. And I also didn't want my new boyfriend to see me go to town on candy because he'd probably judge me, think less of me, or think I was fat for doing so. So what did I do? I waited until he left the room to go to the bathroom and literally ran across the room to the bag of candy. There, standing up in the corner of the room, as discreetly as I possibly could, I binged on as much candy as I could unwrap and shovel into my face, all while keeping an ear out so I could hear him coming back so that I could stop and quickly hide that evidence. I felt so embarrassed, so ashamed, and like there must be something seriously wrong with me. Have you ever found yourself worried about being judged for what or how much you ate? Have you ever eaten in private out of fear of what others might think of you? Or experienced intense cravings that you knew you wouldn't be able to control yourself around until it was far too late? So this Halloween candy binge brought on lots of questions for me, things that I hadn't thought about before. Like, why was I doing this? I'm a smart girl. I know better. Why did I care about what he thought? Did I even care about what he thought? Or was it more just me in my own head and how I judged myself? One of the big underlying root causes that fueled this behavior of mine was something I call the pedestal effect. In official studies, it's called the forbidden fruit effect if you want to look up the official research behind it. But basically, it's when you think of a food as bad or tell yourself you shouldn't eat it, even if you have really good intentions behind it, like candy is bad, it has sugar, sugar isn't good for my health, so therefore I shouldn't eat it, you're essentially putting it up on this big pedestal and giving that food or amounts of that food all kinds of power over you. All of a sudden that food looks extra appetizing, you think about it a lot, you crave it, it's so hard to eat just a little bit without being able to stop yourself. And I had been really stuck in that deprivation type mentality around food for years at that point. I had this vision on how I was supposed to eat, and the best way I knew how to be compliant was to actively control myself around food with those types of mental food rules, like using good, bad, should, shouldn't, allowed, not allowed, only this much, etc. The solution to beating that restrict and then binge cycle is not learning how to restrict better or have more willpower. It's bringing the food down off the pedestal. It's normalizing that food, removing that restrictive language. The sense of urgency around that naturally dissipates, and it just becomes like any other food. Now, please keep in mind, this is very different than just saying to yourself, okay, then candy is good. I should eat all the candy. There's a whole systematic approach in doing this in a way that actually feels good. For help with that and to stop the out of control food craziness, book a free mini session with me. I have one spot left this week. 5 more will open next week, but PM me to schedule that.